You're listening to the WBT Podcast with Michael Lodge. Listen to all of our podcasts at www.wbtpod.com. Stay informed. Let's get started.
Well, it's Tuesday, Political Tuesday. I love Political Tuesdays. This is when I get to trash everybody. I don't really trash people, but I get kind of upset a lot of times with politicians. I'm finding that there's a lot of politicians you just can no longer trust. But before we get into that, I need to talk to you guys out there who have ITIN numbers. Now, you had until December 31st to renew your ITIN number. Remember, you're supposed to use your tax ID number at least once in every 3 years when you file your tax return. So, let me tell you that if your middle digits of your ITIN number, remember your ITIN begins with a 9. You can always tell if it's an ITIN because it always begins with a 9. It looks exactly like a Social Security number. So it's 3 digits, then 2 digits, then 4 digits. Well, the middle digits are the ones that you want to be concerned with. So if the middle digits on your ITIN is a 70, a 71, 72, or 80, you needed to renew. Okay, so you had until December 31st, 2017 to renew. Okay? That's very important. Oh, I'm sorry. One other thing is that if you did not renew, expect a delay in your tax return. Expect that you might not get some of the tax benefits that you think you might be getting until you renew your tax return, your ITIN. So that's really important that you understand that. Don't blame your tax accountant. Blame yourself because you had until December 31st, 2017. And I've put several blogs out there and I've covered this before in some podcasts. So it's not your tax preparer's fault. It's your fault. So if you have not done that, expect that you will have a really long delay in getting any kind of a tax refund. Now, let's get into the meat of the subject, what I want to talk about. Okay, when this FISA report came out, let's get this really straight, okay? The FISA report was identifying one thing, and it was identifying that the FISA rules had been corrupted by a few people in the Department of Justice and the FBI. They were using it for political gain. The problem is that under the FISA rules, if you lie before the court, that is a crime. Even if you're an FBI agent, even if you are a DOJ attorney, it's against the law. So that was the whole point of this whole FISA thing. And that is what the chairman of the Intel committee was trying to get out, is that the FISA rules and the FISA methods were corrupted by politics. And if you want to know the story behind it, go and find out. I don't want to go through it today because it pisses me off. But anyway, so that's basically what the memo was about. So, what happens? And this is what really gets my goat, is that we've got this individual that represents me in Burbank, California, where my office is. He goes out, he says, you know what, everybody's a liar on the committee. Okay? And he calls those people's name. And even when they had closed door settings, he went out and leaked stuff to the press as the closed door meetings were going on. And on top of that, he's been using documents to information to give out to the media that he should not be giving out. So he has gotten in the way of the committee's real function, and that is to be an oversight over government. And when they find mishandling of issues, they need to take care of it. So the guy who I'm talking about is Adam Schiff. Now, Adam Schiff has been around for a while, and he's one of these liberal politicians who goes out there and he will fight every single thing. He will put you down if you believe in success in America. He will put you down if you're getting a tax break. He will put you down on immigration. He just is anti-hate, anti-this, anti-everything, and he hates everything that is good for America. I've seen it time and time again. Now, I have had issues on tax issues that I thought we need to tweak in Congress. And I've sent it to him, trying to get his help on it. And what I get back is a form letter that says we're doing this and the Democrats are doing that. It's nonsense. It's worthless. It's just absolutely, it's an idiotic thing to do. Never addresses the issue that I want, what I want directed to. So we have this Adam Schiff who is really corrupt. He's a lie. He tells lies upon lies. And he's not thinking about what is needed to clean up the mess in the FBI. Remember, it's not the whole FBI, because we love the FBI. I love them with all my heart. But the issue is that it's a few people who had a political agenda that used the FISA court to push their political agenda. And that could happen to Republican, it could happen to Democrat, it could happen to Independent. If you have that type of corruption, things can go bad and very corrupt very quickly. And that's not what America's about. So every single day I have to fight this Adam Schiff on so many different issues, because he comes out and he has all of these Hollywood libs like Rob Reiner and all these Chelsea Handler and all these high, over the top, far to the left people. And the problem is that it does a lot of harm. If you cannot have politicians in office that are going to support and endorse the laws of the United States, and the FISA court is part of the Constitution of the United States and is monitored by the Supreme Court. If Congress is not going to support the law and they feel as if it's okay to bend the law in order to get their political agenda done, we have a bad problem in America. We cannot have that anymore. So when they come out with this, I don't know, it's a 10-page memo or something from him. I think he's trying to outdo the people. But it's nonsense, because once you start attacking, which this memo does, once they start attacking other members of the committee, it no longer is a fact-finding mission. It is now a political memo to attack the other side, and to only attack the other side, not to come out with ways of fighting the corruption, but instead it's an attack on the Republicans and on President Trump and really upon the American people. Once you put your political agenda inside a intelligence memo, it's no longer an intelligence memo, it is a political memo. And that's all it is. It's worthless. So I am for going in and cleaning up things that happen, and hopefully we can make it so that it doesn't happen again. But if you have congressmen like Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi and Senator Schumer who are constantly fighting the system because they are not pro-Americans, they are pro-political agenda. And I've always said that when you have a political agenda in the way of our democracy, then you put the nation in danger. And that's what happened with the Obama administration, is that they were so focused on the political agenda that they never stopped and thought about what is right and what is wrong, what is ethical and what is unethical. And I think that what Adam Schiff is doing is highly, highly unethical. You do not put your colleagues down when you're addressing a problem within another organization. If you cannot state your facts in a legal terminology and you're going to attack people within your committee, it's worthless. The report becomes worthless. So I want you all to encourage your congressman, please, do what is right for America and not what is your political agenda, or what your party's political agenda is. What happened with the FISA situation could basically happen to you and me. And then we begin to start to think, if it happened within the Department of Justice, are there other departments that are highly politicalized? Gosh, I can't even get the stupid word out. I probably shouldn't even be saying it. But those who have put their political agenda inside another department, you have heard the ability for these departments to remain independent of politics. And it has to be. Every one of them, the Department of State has to be independent of politicians. The FBI has to be independent from politicians. The Department of Justice has to be independent from politics and politicians and political agendas. So, understand me. I hope that you're trying to understand me, that this FISA report was to identify a problem within the Department of Justice and within the FBI of a few people who misused and corrupted the FISA process. It doesn't have to do with Russia. It doesn't have to do with anything else, even though Russia's getting in there because of where people are getting information. And then there's conflict of interest. There's a lot of ethical issues where conflict of interest has been broken because they've got wives involved, they've got family involved, they've got things coming in from political parties, etc., etc. It's conflict of interest. And for a FISA warrant to be issued based on political information from a political party, from a political candidate, from people that were paid by a political candidate and a political party, you have conflict of interest, and that should never have been part of the FISA documentation. So I hope you understand that. But we love the FBI and we love the people within it because they do a bang-up job. But all it takes is a few bad apples to make a whole bunch. Boy, I think somebody's saying that. I forget who's saying that. But I hope you understand what I'm saying, is that it only takes a few to make everybody else look bad. So, over the next few days, I think probably it would be wise for us to turn off the TVs, turn off the radios, turn off the discussion groups and talk shows, maybe for a couple of days, and let it all simmer down so that we as Americans have an open mind and we can discuss this as Americans together on how do we solve this problem. Because honestly, it comes down to the American people to solve the problems of America now. Because the politicians are not doing that. Look at us. We're just a few days until the DACA thing is about ready to expire. We're just a few days before the spending bill is to expire. But we see nothing happening. We see nothing. The Democrats are certainly not saying that. Let me tell you something. The Democrats are going to shut down DACA by themselves. Don't ever think that the Democrats are for DACA, because they use DACA as a political tool to get votes. Or a political tool to make the other people look bad. Now, I want you to remember that President Trump has put a plan on the table. In fact, he's even tripled the numbers, the immigration numbers for DACA. So what happens? Schumer and Pelosi come out and they say it's racist. Now, how in the world can it be racist? They are using a word that has nothing to do with racism. What it is, it's a new word, and I call it political racism, where they use that word for political gain. They're not worried about racism because there's really nothing to do with racism. This happens to do with an immigration law of people into the United States and to be here legally and to provide them with an opportunity and a way to get them here legally. But the Democrats will never go for DACA. This destroys the whole talking point. If they were to pass a immigration reform package right now that include DACA, they would have nothing more to talk about. So those of you who think the Democrats are so nice and pure and they worry about you, they're not worried about you. What they're worried about is what can they use to go against the other side to get you to vote for them. DACA is just a vote. They're not concerned about the DACA people. Don't even believe them. DACA has become a political agenda for them that they want to keep on their books. DACA has become an asset on their books. It's not a liability, it's an asset because they can whip it out at the next election and say the Republicans were racist because they didn't pass DACA. So let's get over all of these stupid political things. Because I'm getting tired of the lies and I'm getting tired of the political games and I'm getting tired of the manipulation of the American people. And we Americans have got to start thinking for ourselves. We need to start taking back this great country of ours. Liberalism has literally destroyed the ability for a nation to work together because liberalism has created so much hate between people. Liberalism should be a dirty word in every single one of our mouths. Liberalism will never join our country together. It will never bring us together because it is meant to divide. That's the whole message. Divide and hate and conquer. It's a sad thing. But we let it go on. And it goes on, and it goes on, and it goes on. But it's time that we as Americans, we put a stop to this. Lies are not progress. When a politician tells a lie, it doesn't get us any closer to anything. When a politician like Adam Schiff begins to try to manipulate it with racism and calling his own committee people names, nothing is going to get done positive for the American people. We have got to get the Adam Schiff hate out of politics and start getting people back to the table and getting things done for us, the Americans. So we need to shut people down like Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff and Rob Reiner and Chelsea Handler, Chuck Schumer, and all these people out there who are yelling nothing but racism and hate every single day. Just go to their Twitter accounts and you will see that that's all that they do. They attack all day long. They call people names all day long. I even saw one today on Twitter that was happy that someone had died. It's a sick mind, and we got to put those sick minds away. We've got to stop this political agenda stuff because it's just dividing this nation over and over and over again. I'm happy to know that we found out that there was trouble in the FBI, and I am also happy to know that Americans, because we're strong, we can correct the problem. We can clean the house and we can get rid of the corruption. And I bet you that the majority of the FBI wants to do the same thing. They want to keep going. They want to keep doing their jobs. They want to keep protecting the American people. So let's fix the problem and move on and find the next problem and fix that. That's what these oversight committees are supposed to do. They're not supposed to be in those conference rooms playing politics and making statements and making speeches and everything else. They are there to ask the questions, get to the answers, and cure the problem. That's what their jobs are about. So that's it for Political Tuesday. Think about what I said, because it's time that we really do take this nation back. Everybody have a great day. I will talk with you soon.
Thank you for listening to the WBT with Michael Lodge. Join us again tomorrow as we explore more about business and taxes. Follow us on iHeartRadio and go to our podcast website at www.wbtpod.com and listen to all of our podcasts and read our blogs.
World of Business and Taxes on WBT.
Thank you for listening.
This is brought to you by Lodge & Co., a business and tax advisory firm where your success is our goal. Call us today toll-free at 888-681-1518 or visit us at www.lodge-co.com and learn more about what we can do for you. Lodge & Co., your source for sound business and tax services.